Have you ever wondered how the boundary between the digital and the real world seems to be blurring every day? Particularly in how we interact with technology. Well, today we're going to be diving into a conversation that stands at the forefront of this fascinating evolution. Because I'm going to explore the realm of generative AI with a company called DID. And they are a pioneering force that's redefining how still photographs are not just viewed, but experienced. By transforming static images into dynamic AI video narratives and interactive experiences with digital humans, DID is crafting the future of digital communication. And with their robust API and intuitive creative reality studio, they're breaking new grounds in live streaming customer engagement, educational content, and making sophisticated AI-generated videos more accessible than ever before. When you experience that with a brand or a company, that then becomes your standard expectation for all future experiences. So today, I want to explore the layers of innovation behind DID's transformative technology and also its impact on marketing and the future that it is shaping for us all. Now, before I get today's guest on, a quick shout out to the sponsors of Tech Talks Daily, because in today's remote first world, I think settling for outdated managed file transfer solutions means ultimately you're risking your sensitive data. But if you upgrade to Kiteworks, the gold standard in secure MFT, boasting FedRAMP moderate authorization, Kiteworks isn't just secure, it's a complete transformation of how your business handles file transfers and communications. So say goodbye to compromise and hello to unmatched security and efficiency. And you can do that by making the switch to kiteworks.com. Visit kiteworks.com to begin. That's kiteworks.com to secure your data and empower your business. But now, let's get today's guest on. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Tel Aviv, where Tomer Zuker, a visionary whose career spans over 2 decades across tech giants and startups alike, is going to talk about all this and so much more. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Hey everybody, so I'm Tomer Zuker. I'm the VP Marketing of DID. DID is really exciting startup around AI and specifically generative AI. And for the last 23, 24 years, I'm in the tech industry, in marketing, in sales, business development. I worked for big corporations like Microsoft, IBM, Amazon, and also for smaller startups. And currently I'm working for a really interesting startup, DID. In addition to that, I'm managing a huge community on LinkedIn. Its name is Linkers. It's all about LinkedIn, helping 10,000s of people to leverage this fantastic platform. I also have a podcast, which I really love. Its name is Market Trip. It's about marketing and people and innovation. So I'm trying, to diverse my activation.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you join me on the podcast. And there's so much to unpack there. So I've got to ask, what was your origin story? What was your journey into the tech industry? You mentioned marketing, business, and so many different areas. So what is that backstory and how did it ultimately all lead to DID? There's got to be a story there, right?
Yeah. It always has a, interesting story. So my first role in the tech industry was actually a techie role. I studies business management and specialized in marketing and information systems. So I touched, code and it was, hype around, startups and the .com, good old days. So I started as a QA manager and a professional services expert in a startup around text analytics. And to be honest, I found myself, sitting all day long in front of the, the computer and trying to review code. And I totally understood that this is not my place. I went out to meet customers and prospects. So after this kind of really exciting journey, as a techie person, I crossed the road and moved to the business side, which is my natural place. And that was the beginning. In the beginning, the first years, I spent few years in sales, mainly enterprise sales, B2B. And by the way, this is something that I really recommend any marketeer to start with, to spend few years in sales, mainly in the B2B domain. And after a few years in sales, I switched to my marketing, which is my passion. But I did these switches between marketing and sales few times in my career. So I consider myself as a person, as a marketeer that know both of the ends of the funnel. And to be honest, it's really an advantage.
And fast forward to 2024, and the world's gone completely nuts for all things generative AI. It first began about 18 months to 2 years ago, and now we're at the point where people are talking about text to video. I've been reading a lot about Devin AI, first AI software engineer this week. So I'm curious, from your viewpoint, how have you seen Gen AI and that entire market evolve over the years? And are there any other trends that you see shaping its future right now, or anything that excites you in this space?
For someone that spent, I would say 20 years, 2 decades in the tech industry, you see, these kind of trends, coming and going.
Yeah.
A few years ago, everybody talked about blockchain, and afterwards create monkeys on NFTs, and before of that, cloud computing and whatever. But this time, this is something different. This is like a true revolution in the way it changed the way we interact with machines, with technology. It even bring into the table some philosophical questions about who we are as human beings. I'm not going to dive into singularity and this kind of areas, but it's really fascinating. But I have a perspective. We are talking about AI for decades. AI is not something new. It started in the 50s,
Yeah.
But it was like a secret that is known only for a very, very limited amount of experts. Data scientists and people that created programs around NLPs and natural language programming and such. But what happened 2 years ago, I would say, even less than that, is that we moved from an area that is mainly around analytics or analysis into a creation. You don't have to know code in order to generate the output. So in that sense, OpenAI, and I feel very comfortable to name their name because they open up the market, brought Gen AI to the masses, to everybody. If my 74-year-old father talked with me about ChatGPT, and he does, by the way, all the time, it says something.
Yeah.
It says that we lower the bar and allow more people and more businesses to benefit from this technology. And currently, we have more than 10,000 Gen AI tools, which is crazy when you think about that. And what I expect that will happen in 2024, we will see this kind of consolidation in the market because this is anomaly. Nobody can, learn, control, and use thousands of tools. So we are currently very close to a tipping point when the market, this kind of hype or bubble, even if you would like to call it, around Gen AI, will become more mature. And people will ask now the right questions about the value, the real value they can generate from generative AI.
It's such an exciting space at the moment. And one of the reasons I was excited to get you on here today is every day I try and take an area of technology or a buzzword that people hear about, try and demystify it and talk about it and explain it and the kind of value that it offers to everyone. And the reason I invited you here was to discuss the concept of digital agents. So can you just explain that concept and how at DID you position yourself as the first natural user interface company? Again, incredibly cool. But for anyone that's hearing about it for the first time, can you just offer a bit of an explanation behind that concept?
Sure. When you're looking back into the history, the short history of technology, and you look on the way people interact with software or applications, you always find yourself under some constraints in terms of the user interface, because you are almost like obligated to navigate on the app or the software based on the programmed application. You have some conventions. You have to click here or click there in order to get some value. It's not natural for us. You know, we have to use keyboard and mouse. We didn't born with a mouse on our hand, right? We learned to do that. We adapted ourselves into the constraints of technology, but it's not natural for us. And because it's not natural for us, and it's quite complicated because you have very complicated UI now, people cannot benefit 100% of the value of the software. And it's very frustrating from the supplier point of view, the vendor, but also from the user point of view. What we come up with the natural user interface, or NUI, it's like the next step in the evolution of the user interface. Back then in the late 70s and 80s, in the 20th century, we use TUI, textual user interface. We use, black screens and green fonts and type codes and, commands. Then we move to a graphical user interface, the GUI. This is what happened now still. But now the technology has reached to the point that it can bring another way to interact with the software. You see, for instance, like Vision Pro of Apple. It's another way to interact. You saw that years ago with Siri and Cortana. And what we brought now into the table is real-time interaction with software through digital people or avatars. So what is more natural for us to converse with technology? I don't want to use a mouse. I don't want to follow some very, restricted commands. I would like to create a dialogue with the software in a natural language and explain the software what I need. So DID was founded in 2017, a few years ago, as a cybersecurity company, by the way. We did a pivot in 2020 into the Gen AI market, generative AI, before anybody knows what is generative AI. There were other names around that, synthetic media and such. And we have started our journey by creating avatars. We can take a still photo and convert it into a talking head or avatar, or talking person. That was the origin of DID. And currently in the world, there are more than 150 millions of digital people that were created based on DID technology, which is fantastic. Every 3 seconds, we have a new sign up to the platform. It's amazing. So we bring a lot of value in terms of creating content, video-based content, using digital people. Think about, product marketing, videos and learning and teaching and such. That was the story till the end of 2023, the beginning of 2024. We found out, we read the very interesting researches, that people interact with avatars, though digital people, in the same way they interact with real people. The same, area in our brain are being activated, although we know it's a synthetic, figure. So it's a matter of something that is related to evolution, I would say. We as human beings prefer to interact with human being. But human being is a luxury. You cannot have human being everywhere, right? If you had this kind of experience calling to a customer support and waited on the line for long time, right? Really frustrating. Or you're getting like fault answers or whatever. You can bring up to the table a lot of scenarios. People are expensive and people are limited. So we took the avatar that we created in the past like 2 years ago, and now we brought them a brain and a voice, an emotion, and now the avatar are conversational avatar, and we call them DID agents. So you can take the avatar, you can train it on a specific data set, a knowledge base, and you can embed the agent on your website, or you can share the agent and you can invite your users, customers, prospects, fans, followers, listeners to interact with you in real time. So think about your podcast. You now create an avatar of Neil.
Yeah.
You train Neil the avatar on Neil's, biography or knowledge base, whatever, and you place Neil the avatar on your podcast, on your website, and people can interact with you in multiple language in real time. Think about the experience that now we are bringing to the world, and it's super, super exciting.
Wow, you've just blown my mind. That is incredibly cool. And just to go back in time, just for a moment, we didn't mention during your origin story that you've got vast experience at companies from Amazon, Microsoft to IBM. And if you look at where we are now and the work that you're doing, how do you see generative AI transforming marketing strategies across different industries, especially using those digital, those DIDs that we were just talking about there?
It's really, we are now into, inside this kind of revolution. So we don't have enough perspective just to look back and say, hey, this is the year of the revolution. We are into that now. But what can I see since the last year is that it's really transforming the way we do marketing and we can do marketing. My approach is, I call it like Gen AI first marketing. So anything we can do using Gen AI tools, I prefer to do with Gen AI tools and not with traditional tools. And this is I'm preaching for that, and I'm investing budget to my team to purchase relevant Gen AI tools for them for the day-to-day use. So think about that currently. This is like the latest research I read, that around 60% of the organization have already started to adopt AI in the marketing. The highest adoption of AI is in marketing, within marketing, around 90% of the usage is related to content creation. Think about, blog posts and product reviews and obviously videos and images, right? So you have a lot of tools, great tools like ChatGPT and Gemini and Midjourney and such that can help you to speed up the content creation process, to shorten your time to market, which can be translated into a competitive advantage, lower your cost, and increase your scale. So this is like, a dream for a marketer. You can create more content. You can reach out to more prospects. You can increase your market coverage. Now, this is not the end of the story. It's only the beginning, because if you are looking on solution like agents, you can ask yourself, why should I leave my marketing department only to human beings? Why can't I augment my team members with virtual team members, with agents? Think about the hard work we are investing in capturing leads on our website or during campaigns, right? You have this kind of lead form. You ask people to leave their details. People really don't love it. But what about if we can create this kind of agent that is integrated into your line of business, into your CRM or marketing automation and such, and can be hyper-personalized and can make a dialogue with you in real time and qualify your needs and understand your intent and even understand your emotions? How cool is it? It's not only cool, it can increase and improve your conversion rate and boost your business. So I'm seeing like few months from now, it's not the far future, few months from now, a year or two, that the marketing department will be a hybrid marketing department. Human beings and agents will work together, and people will orchestrate teammates that are virtual. Now, I'm saying that because a few years ago, I was a CMO of a really cool company named Cryon in the RPA domain. RPA stands for Robotic Process and Automation. We have started the AI journey using AI or machine learning to identify some inefficiencies, processes in the organization, and deploy bots in order to automate and improve inefficiencies. now with LLM, large language models, and the advancement in 2024, you can take this concept, edit to a product like agents, add automation, add orchestration, and add a framework that will allow you to operate a wider marketing organization in a lower cost. And for me, this is the direction, and I'm going to adopt this, what I'm pitching now in 2024, to my team.
And just to further bring to life everything you were just talking about there, especially in terms of DID's portfolio, is there anything you can share around the key categories and products that maybe you're most excited about yourself?
Yeah, just to simplify the things, first of all, DID is a platform company, which means we have API, application protocol interface, that we allow programmers and developers to use our code in order to create solutions. So we have currently more than 250,000 of developers across the globe that have access to our API and creating their own solutions, which is amazing. You can, embed or create avatars and embed them into your solutions and help your user, your customers to benefit with this kind of interaction. So in terms of the portfolio, we have the API. We're working very closely with the global developer community and also with the development powerhouses. In addition to that, we have the DID Creative Reality Studio, which is the place that people can create avatars. This is like the avatars factory. You can upload your own photo, a photorealistic image, or a fictional image. You can generate an image within our studio. You can add the voice. You can record your voice. You can generate synthetic voice. You can clone your voice. And you can add a script, a text. You can generate the script. You can whatever. So you have the full package, and then you can generate the video. We offer few type of avatars in terms of the quality, half body, headshot, and such. And the output is a video that you can use in different ways. In addition to that, we also provide plugins, add-ons. For instance, we have a plugin for Microsoft PowerPoint. So think about, you have a deck, already created a deck, but now you can add a layer with a talking avatar in 120 languages that can, explain the content. It's a different way to learn and teach. So we use that mainly with learning and training division in the organization. In addition to that, we just launched the agent, which I mentioned, that help you to make a real-time interaction using live streaming. It's really unique. And this is the place that we are now focusing our development efforts in order to bring another or different experience to our user. I mentioned emotions during this talk, but think about that the next gen of agents will understand people's emotions using emotional or sentiment analysis. Think about an agent that understands that now you are in a hurry, for instance, so he can speed up the talk. Or if you understand during the dialogue that you are, angry, for instance, he can be more empathic. So think about the interaction. And this is like the concept of natural user interface, because it's the closest, experience like you are talking with the real person.
It's incredibly cool. And I think it's very easy for people such as you and I who are right in the heart of this space, find it incredibly exciting. But there will be business leaders listening all around the world that we're blowing their mind right now, and also maybe feels a little bit daunting, overwhelming, the pace of the technology, etc. So from your perspective, from all those customers that you're talking to, what are the main hurdles companies are facing when trying to integrate these technologies, and any advice on how they can overcome those initial fears?
Yeah, it's a great question, because for the last year or so, I'm feeling that like there is a huge FOMO in the market, fear of missing out, because everybody talks about AI here and AI there, but it's really confusing because you have so many tools, you have so many vendors, it's super competitive, landscape. So how should you start? So I would say that from an organization point of view, first of all, try to map all the places where you believe you can do more with AI. places you can reduce your cost or improve your efficiency or increase the scale. Okay, so first of all, understand what are your real pain points. And once you understand what your real business pain points, you can explore the relevant tools that can help you to close the gap. This is one thing. The other thing is that currently the majority of AI tools are great for personal productivity, for the sole designer, for the sole content writer. But you need to scale up from your point of view and think about how can I make my organization an AI-first organization. It's not only in a specific department. How can I use AI to improve the, procurement, for instance, or to better understand or better to design better products? So you need to take it from the personal level into the department level into the organization level. And the third things I would recommend for executives is think about the adoption and the deployment and the enablement of AI in their organization, because there are some concerns, and we have to be honest around that. The concerns can be related to job security, they can relate it to privacy, and such. So you need to mitigate that. You need to deal with that. It's really a revolution, and because this is such an extremist, technology, you need to have the buy-in from the organization. You need to explain people how they can do their job better using AI. How can they be more productive, more efficient, and maybe to benefit the human advantage, for instance, imagination or collaboration and such, versus doing repetitive work that we actually don't have any kind of advantage. The machine can do that better than us. So it's like change the balance and the play and even the positioning of human beings within the organization.
And as you said there's a lot of FOMO around AI, and a lot of people just get distracted by the technology itself. And I know another topic very close to your heart is that you don't have to do all this stuff on your own, and you've got a huge passionate community out there as well, haven't you? So can you tell me a little bit more about the human element and that passionate community that you've got?
Yeah, so to be honest, there is not real substitute to human connection. I see that because, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm managing with colleagues and partners, huge community. We're doing a lot of virtual, activation activities and webinars and, a lot of writing and such. But the real magic happens in the face-to-face interaction. So people are looking and starving for human touch. So in that sense, I would say that there is like a different user journey or customer journey that can balance between the synthetic atmosphere and using AI tools, for instance, for creating content, interact with people, and those precious time that you actually meet people. It looks like the advancement of technology is much, much faster than our biology. And people are trying to adapt themselves into this evolving environment. And we have to adapt ourselves. You don't want to stay behind, the curve. But in the same time, you don't want to lose your humanity. And I think this will be like the game in the upcoming years. Who are we? How can we use technology in the best manner that will not damage our place as human beings? And this is like a very, very, really heavy questions to ask.
100% with you on that. And as the pace of technological change continues to race ahead at breakneck speed, it gets increasingly difficult to predict the future. So looking ahead, though, if you look into my virtual crystal ball, are there any innovations in generative AI that you're most looking forward to, or any ways that you see that this will change the marketing landscape forever? What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I think we will see two directions. First of all, it's going to be very immersive. it's going to be native. AI will be everywhere. It's almost like if you're looking like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when we talked about digital marketing, it was like the new thing. There is no other marketing, almost no marketing right now, except of digital marketing. So it will be the same with AI. It will be everywhere. It will be transparent to us. It will be hard for us to imagine a world without the consultation with the AI. So AI will be everywhere in our day-to-day life, in the works, in the job environment and such. This is one thing. The other thing is the convergence between the AI software and robotics. We saw that this week with the announcement of OpenAI of using ChatGPT within a robot. I believe it will be the next step, because you have the brain of LLM and you have like the body from a very sophisticated manufacturer of robotics, and you have the needs. So, even today, a lot of medical robots doing surgeries that much better than human beings. So I think this will be the next big thing. This kind of convergence between the mind and the body.
Whoa, incredibly
scary,
cool.
Right?
Yeah, man. Well, I always say at the end of every episode, though, that technology works best when it brings people together. And I know that you're someone that's deeply involved in community building and thought leadership, as well as the tech stuff. So how do you believe the marketing community can maybe better prepare for some of these advancements in AI technologies that we're talking about today, especially around understanding and leveraging AI in marketing? Anything you could share around them?
Yeah, I would recommend every marketeer to invest at least 10 to 15 minutes in a day, just for AI practice. Learn a new tool. Try it, experiment it. Pick a specific workflow you have today in your day-to-day job and try to use AI for that. I really believe in on-the-job training. This is the best way to learn. And to be honest, most of the tools are really, really easy to use. So challenge yourself and dive into the water and do a lot of experiments. This is I think the first and most important recommendation. Then I would also recommend to join some communities and professionals, forums and such, to learn from other professionals about their own best practices, how they can use AI. For instance, I'm doing a lot of research and exploration about companies and brands that use AI for their own campaigns, trying to open my mind in the way people use AI to improve their day-to-day work. So those are the things I would like to recommend. And in order to avoid a lot of confusion, because you have so many tools, try to pick the most relevant tools for you. For instance, I'm not in the sound industry. I'm not creating sounds and music. So I will spare less time in tools that generate music. Maybe just my own curiosity, but into day-to-day work, I will invest more time in tools like Gemini and Claude and such, because they're bringing a real value to my day-to-day work in terms of market research and value proposition and such. So try to be very picky with your time. Otherwise, you're going to chase your tail every day.
Fantastic advice. We started the podcast talking about your origin story and what put you on this path. But as we come full circle, I'm going to ask you to look back one more time, because none of us are able to achieve any degree of success without a little help along the way. So is that a particular person that you might be grateful towards? Maybe they saw something in you, invested a little time in you, or just played a small part in helping you get you where you are today. Who would that person be and why? And we'll give them a bit of a shout out today.
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned, I started my journey in the tech industry in the techie role, but then moved to sales. I spent around 4 or 5 years in enterprise B2B sales, really like the heavy stuff. But my passion was in marketing. And to be honest, in big organization, it's really hard to cross the lines and switch from sales to marketing. So I looked for an opportunity to do this kind of cross and change in my career. And I had this a manager in the organization I work with He was a salesman. He was a marketing manager, a team leader that saw something in me. So we started to play ping pong, I would say, for a few months. He challenged me doing some marketing stuff for his own team in parallel to my work as a salesperson. And during those times, I succeeded to convince him that if he's not going to hire me, he's going to lose. And that was happened. It was quite a challenging switch, but I just jumped into that very aggressively. Took into advantage this opportunity, and I always thankful for him. We are still in touch. He's a fantastic person.
Fantastic. Well, I'll give him a huge shout out there. I hope he gets to listen to this, because I think it's so important. We all impact people around us without even realizing it, just by investing a little time. So a big thank you there. And before I let you go, you mentioned you've got a podcast. We've talked a lot about DID. So for anybody listening wanting to find out more information about you, about DID, about your podcast, where would you like to point everyone listening?
Yeah, I think first of all, if people would like to follow me and consume my content, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I have like a few tens of thousands of people that connected to me. I'm writing a lot, few hundreds of posts in a year. So I invite people to follow me and contact me. In terms of the podcast, Market Trip is a podcast that I have doing that. I'm doing that with a colleague. We are trying to create this kind of season that focus on a specific domain and trying to create like a 360 degree perspective on this domain. For instance, about employee branding and about generative AI and about the relationship between CMO, VP marketing, and CEO and founders in techie companies. There's a lot of stories over there. So in those seasons, we are bringing into the table professionals and trying to look on this specific domain from various perspectives. So I'm in Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. So people are most invited to listen to the podcast.
Well, it's been a huge honor chatting with you today. I'll add all those links to the show notes. We covered so much there, from the concept of digital agents and how DID has positioned itself as its first natural user interface company, talking about generative AI portfolios that excite you, especially in marketing, use cases and transformation efforts, etc. But for me, it was all wrapped up in the human element, the power of community, your powerful origin story, and how grateful you are to that person that invested a bit of time in you. It had it all for me, but just a big thank you for sharing your story with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was fun for me, interesting. I'm talking about that. I'm really passionate about that. I cannot express how I'm really excited about this change. And I think it's a privilege to be in the front line of the AI industry with DID and interact with professionals like you and talk about this. This is a passion, like marketing and technology converge together. I'm happy with it.
After our conversation now, I'm left with this profound appreciation for the leaps generative AI is making in our lives and businesses. And DID's groundbreaking work is not just about enhancing digital communication. I think it's also about creating a seamless interactive experience that can bridge the gap between technology and humans. So from revolutionizing customer experiences to redefining marketing strategies, I think the real potential of digital agents and natural user interfaces is boundless. But as we do begin to look to a future where AI becomes ubiquitous, it reminds us that the importance of staying informed, adaptable and proactive in understanding and integrating these innovations responsibly and ethically are so important. But this is a huge, huge topic. We couldn't cover everything in a 30-minute podcast. So please, your thoughts on the future of AI in our personal and professional lives. How do you see these technologies transforming your industry or even your daily experience? Share with me now by emailing me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just @NeilC.Hughes. Let's join the conversation on how we can navigate. I want you to join the conversation on how we can collectively navigate this exciting digital frontier together. So keep your messages coming in. I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll explore a completely different topic. But as always, thank you for listening. And until next time. Don't be a stranger.